Hello everyone. Hello, Sharon.
Hello, Mira. Hello.
And it's so wonderful to be together today. And also, I'm so excited we're speaking to Stephen. Hello, Stephen.
Hi Mira, how are you doing?
It's so great to have you. I'm really thrilled for us to dive in deep and to talk about all of the mysteries that are available for us to experience through past life regression. And I can imagine this is what drew you in at an early age into this work, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, hypnosis itself, I was 13 when I just had this curiosity about it. And it was 17, I went to college, but went to a library, and the first thing I was trying to find out is what is hypnosis? What is this thing that you can do? So yeah, I mean, from an early age, I've just had an attraction to it, and I don't know why, but maybe it's some kind of calling, possibly.
Oh, was that hypnosis in terms of what is possible to achieve with the mind, or were you more interested in how do I get people to do what I want them to do?
Well, I think it was a bit of everything. I think I must have saw something. So my first ever subject was my little brother. He was only 6 years old. I was 17, I think. So I was way back in 1991. So probably over 30 years ago. But the first thing I had him doing was picking imaginary daisies out of a carpet. And I'm thinking, wow, this works. This is cool. And then I did a past life regression with him. And again, I must have read about that somewhere to have an interest and to try it. And he was telling me things about how he was. So this is a 6-year-old telling you that he is married with a kid, and he was telling me place names. He was telling me how he was worried about he had a skin disease and he was dying, and he was worried about leaving his child and his wife behind. So quite amazing. Just that kind of started me, it blew me away, and then from there I started just doing past life regression stuff with people. So it was fascinating for me at that age, and just hooked me.
This
Wow,
is really incredible.
it is.
All right. And you had yourself a great subject. Also, in all truth, kids are great subjects because they're immediately willing to go with it. I remember when I regressed my older niece for a first time, she was also somewhere very young, between 4 and 5, somewhere there.
Mm.
And she was telling me about being a little baby and being in a crib. And I'm thinking, is she remembering being herself in this life, right? And then she started talking about having a twin sister and another baby in the crib next to her. And I was like, oh, this is real. This is not her just imagining. But I love how for you, it went so much further with all the details your brother gave you. Really incredible.
Yeah, it was fascinating, and especially, I mean, like you're saying, kids. Some of them say kids don't need hypnosis because their minds they're that open. And if you think of people like Professor Ian Stevenson, he didn't use hypnosis, but he was going around with all the kids to get the recalls. So they say that the child's mind is, I suppose it's not developed that critical thinking. This Piaget says that the critical thinking develops around about the age of 7 and to 8. So I think that's why kids, they see ghosts, they experience these past lives, they've got the memories of the past lives. So their minds they've not closed down into this construct of a reality, I think.
Yeah. What got you to so I know your career went places. You definitely invested your time and effort into creating a corporate career.
Mm.
What got you to decide to step into your initial passion, right? First love of hypnosis and past lives.
It was just something that I knew that that's what I was supposed to do. And someone actually said to me, I was at a training course because I still did. I was doing even training in clinical hypnotherapy and all the stuff with anxieties and fears, phobias. And someone said to me, when are you going to go full time? When are you going to start doing it? And I thought, probably about middle of next year. And I don't know why I said that, but then, and it ended up, I resigned from my post. So I was what was my position? A business finance partner. So it was like an accountancy type job. So I think it was something like the February that I resigned, the end of February, and I gave my notice in. They said that I should have 1 month notice. No, they thought I had 3 months notice, but my contract had been there for like 19 years and I still had this 1 month notice. So I said I'll work the 3 months, and it ended up, it was the very end of May that I finished, the very last day of May. So June, that was me, full-time, self-employed. So it was just I think it was just, I just knew that that's what I was going to do. All my passion was there, all my love was there. I had enjoyed my life and didn't dislike my old job, but I just knew that that was what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Wow, fascinating.
I-
Go ahead.
Yeah, please.
Well, I wanted to ask you, well, first I just want to comment that I know with my higher self too, it just throws things and I say things and then, you know, they turn out and then you think back and you think, oh yeah, I did say that. It's not, I mean, it's our higher self directing us, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the thing is, sometimes one thing that I was told a long, long time ago by somebody gave me a reading, and they said that I'm someone who just goes with the flow. She says I'm like a little fish swimming in the water, and I go with the flow. And even at that point, I sort of just, I think it just came that this is what I was to do. And sometimes I think if you get out your way, get out of the way yourself and your own thinking, because I was someone that was really fixed on security and fixed on you know, like that sort of not want to where's my next wage coming from. But when I did that and when I knew I was to do it, there wasn't even any fear there. So I think it was just that calling, that was what I was doing, and it was in some way planned out.
Yeah. The question I had for you was that right now in I know all over the world, people are very stressed out and there's a lot of mental problems. And I know that part of your work is with helping people with that. Do you find that more and more people, actually this morning someone asked me, a neighbor asked me, do you think that just lately people have more mental problems, or do you think it's been here all along and we didn't know about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I've had clients from all different walks of life, different levels of society, and it doesn't matter whether they're millionaires or whether they are working in regular jobs. But I think the demand that's put on people these days from employment, and it's I guess it's wears people right down. But and this is the thing is, I guess we choose to do that. That's in some way we're the ones that are getting up in the morning, and we're the ones that are going to that job, and we're the ones. And what I try to say to clients is that it's a choice, and there is other choices. I think it's just we get locked into these constructs of the job and the house but there's always, I mean, the greatest tool we've got is up here, and if we can use it in that creative way, then we can kind of create anything. But we're creator beings, and that's what we're here to do, to create, not to be locked into some kind of repeating pattern that takes you to the end of your life, and then that's you.
Totally agree. I wish we got educated like that everybody got that at school, you know, to take our power and understand that it is in our hands, and it's all about choice. What choices do we make, you know?
Yeah.
Fear or love to ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, every single thing that we do, our whole life is an accumulation of choices, from getting up in the morning to going to that job to choosing that job, to a lot of the things are unconscious choice as well, but we can change it. We can become aware of the choices that we're making, and to take our life into better places, because there's better places for everyone if we make those choices.
Absolutely. That makes all the difference for what kind of life we have, the choices we make.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Our whole life is an accumulation of choice. That's it.
And how do you feel that people experiencing their life between lives or other lifetimes is helping them choose better? How do you feel that there is the link, right? Because it is this life, and yet how do you feel it links with other lifetimes?
Yeah, it's the funny thing is people sort of look at a past life as something else, another existence. But in reality, if we can say reality, is that we're an accumulation. We're a conscious being that's an accumulation of experience. Now, if I said to somebody, tell me about every single day that you went to school. Tell me about what days you learned that specific thing about maths and how you learned to spell. And people will be saying, "Oh, I've absolutely no idea. I can't remember that stuff." But we've got this learned ability. And this is what past life, as well as it's not something separate or another life. From a conscious perspective, it's the accumulation. So, but sometimes, just like in this life, we might have some issues of anxieties or a fear of something. But unconsciously, this accumulation is there. Just like someone could have I had a client once had a fear of butterflies. And it turned out when he was a baby, a butterfly landed on his nose and he got such a fright. And this was one of his first, obviously, learned traumas, learned responses, that butterflies create this terror and fear. And there was this guy who was a door steward at a nightclub, had a fear of butterflies. So past lives are the same, that we've got the resources and the abilities from the past lives, but sometimes we carry the fears, whether we've been burned as a witch, or whether we've drowned at sea, or whether we've crashed in an aeroplane. We carry all this. We can carry the fear and these anxieties, but we also carry the resource and the abilities. So it's just like in this life, where we don't remember all the lessons through school or how we learn to do a specific job. We've accumulated it and it becomes just part of what we can do. And this is what I find with the past life is usually people are experiencing to basically resolve something that has propped up, just like we might be triggered in this life. Let's say 5 years old, we got attacked. Say fast forward 10 years later, we're in a similar situation, and there's the mind creating this association, and it recognizes that there's a link to this time when you were attacked, and it starts creating anxieties. So, but we might not even remember much about that time when it happened. And it's the same with past life. The connection is there. It's just that we've got the learned responses, we've got the learned knowledge that sits there in these unconscious levels. So, and I guess when you mentioned between lives, I think Dr. Michael Newton calls it life between lives. That again, that's more of the spiritual. So that's more, again, we're talking about lives here, these experiences that we have, but we always return back to. It's like, I think it like horses with blinkers. When we, I even like the word die, when we reawaken, these blinkers open back up and we are more aware again of what we are, who we are, the higher perspective, rather than us locked into this little construct of, it's like a simulation, I think it is. It's like this, we've came in here, locked down with limited experience, or not experience, but limited perception. And we live our lives to learn, to experience the conflicts with people, and let us grow and as souls, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I really appreciate what you just spoke of. And this makes me wonder, I understand the trauma and the learning and the abilities, right? But how about those mystical experiences where people see themselves in Atlantis or see themselves as during the time of the pharaohs in ancient Egypt? How about those lifetimes? How do you feel they fit into all of this?
Yeah, again, it's like we said with the traumas and the fears that we carry, the other side of it, which is the skills and the understandings. And I've had clients that they're shocked that they're realizing they're healers, that they've actually been really powerful healers, and here they are in this life, and they live maybe in a sort of different, how could you describe it, like a construct of what society and things, but they still hold these inner abilities of whether it's healing of knowledge, of being able to, I guess. And I think the thing about healing as well is it doesn't need to be something like Reiki where you put your hands on somebody and you start creating energy. Healing it can be just the person that you are that is able to speak to people, to put them at ease, to make them feel better. And particularly, as we said earlier, in this type of world we live in, which is chaotic, it's 100-mile-an-hour stuff. So sometimes it's like we're here just as the beacon to help people to understand, to realize that they're not confined to this type of life that they live. So this is it, whether it's Atlantis as well. I mean, Atlantis and these ancient places, I've had people that have so they've even been part of a soul that is part of creating the earth. I've had people that are doing that, and they would call it nature beings or something, which they've been here to help with the creation of earth, because this was some I guess, well, we'll call it the construct or the simulator here being created for us to learn. And it just seems that it's like it's a circular experience, or is it secular? It seems like if you think that the moon and the night and the day, the moon, the yin, the yang, whatever it is, but it seems to be that life has repeated these patterns of these ancient times where it's the rise and then the fall of these societies through what they do. And I guess you could say that Gaia and Mother Earth, whatever, takes back, and then it all starts again. So like fires burn down forests and forests grow back again. So we're in this kind of secular type of experience here, that we are here. It gives us, I think it's like a computer game. We run through all these levels until we become a master of the game. And then we don't need to play the game, but we could be saying to someone, oh, you get stuck on level 55. Well, see if you can do this and that, and then that person gets by that bit and they learn there. So, and I guess that would be the idea of a guide who is here guiding us through, giving us that support. But we're here to learn the lesson. It's our responsibility. It's our lessons, and we've got to go through these experiences to overcome the challenges that we may experience.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
I really appreciate the circular way you speak of life. Yeah, really, really wonderful and incredible. I would, because you mentioned of souls who are helping create and co-create. Please tell us some stories. I would love to hear some interesting and unusual stories that stayed with you.
Yeah, there's that many, and it's trying to remember them all. But I've had people that I've experienced. So for anyone that's read, I'll put a bit of context and background, but if anyone's read the Journey of Soul books or the Destiny of Soul, the Dr. Michael Newton books, he done something like 7,000 test cases through his career, and he came up again. Well, he had all these different people experiencing things like Council of Elders or these masters, the guides that were helping the people through their lives. So when I started doing this, the past life, I veered away from the spiritual after death or reawakening type of experience, because I worried a bit about it. I thought, where does that take you? And that's maybe a bit strange. So it wasn't until, and I had a few strange experiences through where I always avoided it. Someone, his last memory was black, and I took him back, and he'd been bombed on a beach, and I thought, whoa, he's dead, so I better not go there. But and I had someone who had a past relative speaking through her in the middle of a session, and I'm thinking, so these come through, they were coming through, but it wasn't until a bit later I thought, right, I read this book and I thought, I'm going to try this. Is there too much suggestion in what he's doing? Is he creating the experiences of all these people by asking the same types of questions that might bring the same thing? So I did it myself with a friend, and I thought I'll be completely unsuggestive. I'm going to try and step out back, not be too, just to be really kind of let him speak, let him facilitate it really. And I was getting all this. There was guides. There was these beings of light that were here. Then you've got, they seem to have these other beings that the Dr. Michael Newton one calls the Council of Elders, or these ascended masters that seem to be able to speak, or they help the guys, but they also help us to, I guess, arrange our lives, to plan our lives, to, but from a higher perspective, they're probably also involved in the greater path of humanity and things as well. So I guess it was just accessing this type of stuff. And again, it blew me away. I'm thinking, right, okay, I read that book and that was cool. And I was able to do it because I've been doing past life regression for so long. So I started to go down that route, and it just really starts to open you up to the realization. When most people will say there's some kind of being of light, I'll always say, try and become aware of yourself. What are you? And they'll always say something like, I'm like an energy or a light. So, and then it's these interactions with guides that come forward. Now, I've got quite a cool little story I like. And it was one time I was working with this girl, and she said, so it was some kind of guide came forward, but it was a unicorn. So I thought, oh God, right, okay, well, unicorns, fair enough. Maybe they exist in other dimensions and things, so I'm open to that. But in my head, I'm thinking, but this is going to just make this girl think this is nonsense. So we're going through this thing with the unicorn, and then it was showing her a place in sort of spirit where she was. She helped. She was a helper in this place, and this place was there for souls who had hard lives, difficult lives, and that was a place of healing. And what this guide was saying is it's a place of magic. It's a place of, in fact, I'd said, they went on a little bit, and I said, I think I asked her to ask, are you a unicorn? And it came back with this really cool answer. And it was, I'm not a unicorn, it says, but we have no physical representation. What we've got to be able to do is to communicate with this person. So whether they communicate through, I guess we communicate through visual experience, through the kinesthetic, the feeling, through auditory. But what it said was this was a place of magic and that she was involved in, and she recognizes unicorns as magic. So it says, so it took the physical representation of a unicorn to help this girl get that communication, understanding of magic in this place that she worked. So I like that because sometimes these guides, they look like these with cloaks or something, and again, that's a physical representation for us that we are used to experiencing in this physical way. So the way that they find it easier to communicate to us is by taking representations. So an old sort of monk looking thing is really just a communication that they're wise, and that person would understand the wisdom from this guide. Or I need to watch how I say guide, because every time I work with people on the west coast of America, they think I'm saying gate. It's my Scottish accent, so it's as in spirit guide.
Yeah. So I really like it because it feels like it's interesting that you opened up more to spirituality after you started doing this, right? So that led you into opening up your spiritual side more. Is that correct?
Sort of. I mean, as a kid, I was the most curious little kid. I was reading mystery books on ghosts and aliens and everything. I was fascinated by anything unexplainable. So I probably was really open and into the spiritual stuff. But in terms of the working with past life, I'd never made that transition into working more with the spiritual aspect, the between life element of it, until I read Journey of Souls. I was sitting on a beach in Greece somewhere reading this book, and I couldn't put it down. It was like page after page going, wow, this is just everything I'm probably supposed to. And I always remember how the book was given to me. It was an ex-girlfriend that I was out with at the time, and I said, I need a book to read for a holiday. And I found some kind of, it was like a Buddhist type thing or something, and I thought that could maybe be good. And then she says, try that book, and I'm looking at it, I don't know. And somebody gave her it as well, because they said that they don't keep books because these books are to be found for somebody else. So I'm looking at it, I'm thinking about it, and I thought, okay, a big chunky book, hardback, not the best book for a case, but I took it, and there we go. It sort of sent me down the next, pointed me in the direction of my next path.
Yeah, we're always guided that way, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah, I love
And
that book, by the way. Yeah.
the story that you mentioned of the unicorn is just so wonderful, so amazing. I was feeling the magic of it as you were speaking, literally connecting with that energy. I would love for you to share some more wisdom, either from the keepers of the light or any of your other experiences, because I have to tell you, that's what I love so much about my work. When I work with people, I get to hear all this profound wisdom and experience it, and have the front row seat to a bigger magic and be in awe. So I would love for you to share some more with us.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Keepers of the Light. So that was a blog I wrote on my website, and it was a girl I worked with in Australia who gave me permission to share this stuff. So generally I wouldn't share that really client stories unless they agree. But with this one, it was these sort of beings that came forward, and they says that they were keepers of the light, and she was here also to help with this transition of humanity. So what was really, I wrote that blog a long time ago. I'm trying to remember the whole story of it all, but basically these, so I think, and I might veer into another session with somebody else. Sometimes they blend together, and you've got this kind of combined wisdom, but they all come from the different sessions. But it was really saying things like how there's a division happening. Now, this might be in that blog of the Keepers of the Light, but they were saying that there's a division happening where there's, I guess it's people maybe more in fear, but more locked into a kind of technological, I guess the way the world is kind of going. But then there'll be a break where there's people that are more in nature, and that they're more in tune with nature, and it's almost like it splits in half. But these beings were saying, and I've had other clients saying the same things, is that I've asked what time frames on it and stuff, and it's like there's no time on it, but it's a progression of what would you say? I guess the ascension of humanity. Maybe this experience is changing. If you can look back to, even if you look at Atlantis, these beings were supposed to be of higher knowledge. They were more connected spiritually, but they were destroyed. And again, one session actually said that they advanced too quick, and this time it's been a slower process. So I guess you can look right back to things like the Middle Ages and stuff, where it's been really, really a real long process of coming back to that ascension. But this is what it's saying, is there will be a split, and there's no right or wrong in this split. It's about, everything is about experience. So whether we are here to experience through difficult, I mean something like a war, right? Now, something terrible, horrible things happen in war, but then there's beautiful things happen out of war as well. There's people who will put their lives at risk to save people. And what it's doing is it's giving every single person an opportunity. That's all it is. It's all opportunities to be the better person, to show that, I guess, the ascension of their what they are, who they are. And this just really seems to, that same information comes from things like these beings of light that came forward, is that we've got to just trust in ourselves, and trust in no matter what you think is happening, there's nothing happening by accident, I think has been said through these sessions as well. So just trust in the process, and that the things that you'll be faced with and challenged with are the right things for you at that time. And I guess it's for us to try not to make our choices through fear, but to make the choices that feels right to us and the good. And that seems what it's all about. It's like the whole of this life is about us progressing and ascending, and it's about these accumulations of the experience through all the past lives. So yeah, it's and I know there's more about that Keepers of Light. I've not read that blog in ages, but I can remember. I remember it was a girl in Australia. That's who brought it forward. But it was just a fascinating experience to have these beings of. I mean, there's ones that even they start to bring some of the religious type beings of the past, but what they say is these are masters. There's one that said once that I have had many names, but it was something like there is no real separation. I think it said we are all one. So you can call me by any name that you want, and the names that I've had, but I don't have a name. And this comes up a lot, that we don't have names. We are, I guess we're a collective.
Yeah, I get that a lot too. And I do feel like they're more separated from the ego than we are. It's not really about them. They live in the collective more. It's a different, they understand unity. They understand, there's no polarity there, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, some of the greatest experiences some people have had. I remember like that first session that I ever did, when I did a between life session. He was in a place of it was connected to source, and his voice just went so labored. And after it said, that's just about one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. I just felt that I didn't want to leave there. It was just so beautiful. There was no fear. There was no nothing mattered. It was just pure. So I guess, and that's probably essentially what we all are. We're these beings that are pure love. Yet what we're doing is we are separating. We're coming into this illusionary separation, and then living out these lives to grow and learn.
Yeah, to experience ourselves, and for the Creator to experience itself. We pretend we're separated.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We're really fortunate as people guiding regression to be living in that energy more often through our clients. How do you suggest people stay in that energy for themselves? So they come to you for a session, they have these spiritual regressions, they experience profound things, and then it's another regular Thursday, right? With nothing exciting going on and no connection to the divine. So how do you suggest people stay more often there and tap into it more often, right? Not just those rare instances of being with you and I.
I think the way that I look at this, I try to stay grounded in life as well. And this isn't a bad place. It's only a bad place if we allow it to become bad, and we make bad choices or allow bad people in our lives or put ourselves in situations. So for me, it's I guess when we come here, we know what we're in for. We know what challenges we're going to go through. So whether it's difficult relationships, but for someone that may be, let's say, mentally abused in some way by a partner, it may be that for that person, that's about them standing up to that person to get out of that relationship, not to allow themselves to attract these types of people into their life. What is the part of them that is pulling themselves towards something like that? And is it self-love in some kind of way? So in a way, when we reawaken back to that spiritual experience, then I guess all this doesn't matter. But but to come here in the first place, this is what we came to experience. So sometimes I think we don't always need to escape it. We need to actually live the experience that we're here to live, to grow and to learn. Because if we keep trying to get back to just that spiritual experience all the time of just being connected, and it is an amazing experience, but it then removes us from what we're here to do, the whole purpose of life and the whole purpose of being here. So I would say that it's useful to keep connecting, because what it does is it reminds you, it makes maybe the experience here just that little bit easier, to know that even though what you're going through, you're guided, it maybe gives people more of that comfort and reminder of what they really are, rather than maybe not having that experience and just thinking this is it, this is just how hellish life is supposed to be. And so so I guess through the sessions with people like us, they get that experience, that reminder, and maybe that's just, they just need that one reminder to let them know that there is purpose to this, there is method in the madness. But meditation, they can do meditation just to try and reconnect. What I notice with people, and even something like things like hypnotherapy or hypnosis, it's a kind of all it is a technique to help someone to work with their own mind. So it's almost like just trying to guide them, to help them with their own mind. But we're all capable of doing it as well. And when you're in these experiences, you're still kind of consciously aware. It's like you're drifted a little bit, but you're still kind of aware of what's happening. And you realize that all this spirituality, these connections, are only a thought away. That's just like when you're in the session, it's, you've got the thoughts that are there, you're bringing it into your perception, into your focus. So things like meditation for someone on their own, they can do, all this can be done just in the same way maybe channelers. Again, I had a really good friend that was a channeler, and I remember seeing him, he's right, I just need to take 10 minutes to get myself into the zone, and he's could bring his head down and he just stopped focusing on something. And I thought, that's technically what we do with hypnosis. It's the same thing. So it's just focus of the mind, and really kind of work with the mind. And even doing these types of sessions, it gives the mind something familiar. It's giving the mind maybe some kind of pathway as to how it can do it again, make it easier the next time. So it may even make the meditations easier the next time.
Yeah, I really love what you said. Yeah, it's not about running away. It's about bringing, not a running away to heaven. It's about bringing heaven here to everyday experiences. Yeah, I love what
100%.
you said. Yeah. I would love to ask you if there's a gift you would like to share with our audience so that they get to experience your soothing voice guiding them to their own experiences, or anything else you would like to invite them to.
Yeah, what I can do is I'll put a little meditation together, something that is to help people just to maybe relax, but to connect to that inner self, and that inner or outer, it's all the same, but that maybe that higher place, just to let them sort of connect and ask questions, see what comes into the mind. It's trusting the experience and allowing this critical thinking that sometimes gets in our way. I always say this critical thinking is like a little kid. You know, if you've ever seen maybe a mother that takes her little kid out and she's with a friend and they're talking and the kid's going, Mum, can I get sweets? Can I get this? Can I do this? Can I do that? And sometimes that's the critical thinking mind. This is this conscious mind awareness is, as you're trying to communicate with your higher self, or your these guides. There's that little, is this real? I'm just making this up. Is this imagination? And when that's happening, you can't communicate properly, just like the two friends can't communicate because the kid is rabbiting away. So it's a similar thing. So it's about trying to just then push that away, let it go, and let whatever comes into the mind, trust in it, and just see what the experience is. So I'll put a little meditation together. And
that would be fantastic. Oh my God, we all need it. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I look forward to that as well. Before we conclude, is there anything else, Sharon, you would like to ask, or anything else, Stephen, you can think of sharing with us? I'm loving this conversation and the wisdom that you're connecting, you're sharing with us. Yes.
I was just going to ask before if after you help them go to past life if you take the time to help them integrate, you know, of course it takes time, but do you help them connect the dots afterwards, or do they want to, or how does that work with you?
Yeah. So when I started doing past life regression, it was just for the experience. It was, this is weird. People are experiencing these different lives, different names, different places. Probably when I just started doing more of the between life stuff, I realized that that's where then this understanding comes from. You can bring guides in to ask, why was that person shown that specific life? Is there a connection to their current life? And they'll usually say what they're trying to learn, how to be among people, or to experience beyond their own, or to experience. So there's always all different types of reasons why. And this is the beauty of it. I found the less that I get involved, the more that I just let the thing flow. It's almost like their mind knows exactly where they're to go, what they're to experience. It's like there's something guiding it, the whole thing. So I find I'm a facilitator. I'm not doing it. I'm just trying to create the environment. So I find that after the passing point, that's where you can then start to piece it together, find out, is there some healing needs to be done here? Is it something needs to be let go of? Is it some understanding? Is it a realization that they're going through something now, but in the past, and they're struggling, but in the past, they've already accomplished this and they've made it through that, and they got the resources to remember that they can do this type of thing. So yeah, the kind of joining the dots to bring understanding to why the mind is shown that specific life, because it could show them any life, but you usually find that will show a particular life because that life has got the meaning. That's the life that they need to experience, for whether it's to do with their purpose, their life path, or the things like their trials and tribulations they're going through now. So yeah, at the end I try to bring some meaning to it.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for answering.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that. And also, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for sharing with us. I really appreciate that so much. Thank you for creating the gift meditation for us. I'm very excited for it. And I look forward to us continuing this conversation at another time. And thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, not a
Thank
problem.
you so much. It was
Yeah.
fun and very educating.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
I love that accent. I can listen to it all day long.
I know. It's good when people can understand it. If I speak too fast, and in Glasgow, that's where I'm from, we change our words a lot. So I've just said words. What does
Yeah.
wor mean? But we've got all these little, we make it even harder because we've got slang words as well. So a head is a heed. So I've got to be careful the way that I speak, because I could end up, it sounds like I'm talking gibberish half the time.
Thank you for being mindful of it.
Yes.
I try.
Yeah.
It's the hard, once you start to talk about this, you get passionate about it, you start to speak faster, and then you start to forget that you're trying to keep that voice, this accent under control.
Yeah.
I fully understand what you're talking of. Yes. Thank you again, and have a wonderful day, and we'll be speaking soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
Enjoy
me.
your evening. Thank
Okay.
you.
Right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.